Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing CHING number 81. So we're going to just get into where we left off. First thing I have, and this was a really awesome sale. This here was actually what they call a kitchen witch. Also goes by the name of Baba Yaga. These are just little witches that people hang in their kitchens. We had found one of these, Eric and I had found one of these at the auction, and we didn't really know much about them, but no one was bidding on it, so Eric threw up his card for $1, and lo and behold, this thing sold for $142.50, which is kind of insane. These do sell high. Not all of them sell for an amazing price. So I don't know what exactly it was about this one in particular. I mean, maybe, you know, there were multiple people who grew up in a household where this same exact kitchen witch was present in the kitchen and they just want it for like nostalgic reasons or whatnot. But that was a great sale. Turning $1 into $142 is just amazing, and one of the reasons why reselling is just so much fun. There are obviously downsides to reselling, but this is not one of them. Okay, so the next thing we have, again, we had one from an auction. This was for a set of 2 Amari styled sleeping cats. These were beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I can't remember exactly what we paid for them, but I know it wasn't a whole heck of a lot. I did list them together as a lot, and they sold for $49.99. Next item we have also came from an auction. This was a huge lot of, I believe, 46 skeins of rug yarn. I believe this was by Aunt Lydia's. Eric had won this at an auction. I'm pretty sure he only paid $1 or $2 for them. No one was really interested in them. Those sold for $89.99. I did lot those up all together. There was a lot of nice colors in there as well. So next item, again another good one. If you guys watch all of my CHING videos, you have seen that I had won a bunch of Avon, older Avon hairbrushes at an auction. Pretty much paid $1 a piece for them, potentially even less than that in the grand scheme of things. I only had a couple of these. This one was for a specific Avon brush. Some of them do better than others, I will say that. This one sold for $89.99, which is amazing for a hairbrush. Next item did go to a subscriber named Margaret. This here was a stick-legged snowman. I got this at a yard sale, and I did set him out. I used him as Christmas decor for a while. I had him in my Christmas decor, and this past Christmas, I was kind of like going through some of what I have as my Christmas decor and setting things off to the side that I didn't necessarily want to decorate with anymore because I was getting newer stuff in my decorations. So I did end up listing this, and he sold for $29.99. Next we have one of those cast iron chocolate molds. This one was of bunny rabbits. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more of these popping up in my CHINGs or not. I thought I was finished with them, but apparently I'm not caught up to them yet. Anyway, this one sold for $105.99, and that did come from an auction. And I feel like we spent maybe $10 on it. Next item we have is another piece of that petite princess dollhouse furniture. You had seen a couple of these pieces in my last CHING video. These did come from an auction. We had won a whole tray full of these vintage petite princess dollhouse furnitures. This one was for a chair that sold for $22.99. Next we have a Busilla. This was called Dashing Through the Snow crafting kit. That did sell for $9.99. Not sure where this came from, in all honesty. Could have been a yard sale, could have been an auction, I'm not sure. Next we have an enamel turtle earring holder. I got this at a yard sale. I think I paid about $2 for him, and he sold for $14.99. I sold a Bob Mackie carousel horse pin. This did come from an auction. I'd say we spent maybe about $20 for that pin, and that sold for $69.99. Typically when I find Bob Mackie items, it's more clothing pieces, so it was really awesome to see a jewelry piece. I would definitely pick up any more jewelry pieces I see by Bob Mackie. Next we have a cloth coach banner. So this is something that would have been kind of used in a display in a department store. That sold for $29.99, and that did come from a dumpster. I haven't been dumpster diving in a very, very, very long time, but it is something that I used to do and I did enjoy doing, and quite frankly, I kind of miss it and kind of don't at the same time. Next item we have is a Bath & Body Works lotion in the scent Coconut Mint Drop. That sold for $16.99, and that did come from a yard sale, and I probably paid $1 for it. Next item was for a set of 2 vintage mom and dad Christmas stockings. These were handmade by someone, really, really nicely well made, absolutely beautiful matching Christmas stockings. I did get these at a yard sale. I think I paid $1 a piece, so $2 altogether, and those sold for $29.99. I sold an Avon Christmas Nativity piece. This was of the stable. That sold for $25.99. At one point, Eric and I had won the whole Avon Nativity set at an auction. I'm pretty sure we paid like $100 for it. There are some pieces within that porcelain Avon Nativity set that is worth good money. So we definitely made our money back on that, plus we profited, obviously. Not all the pieces are worth a lot, but there are some specific ones that definitely do better than others. We actually did just win another Avon Nativity set. Again, we paid about $100 for it. That's typically what they sell for at the auction. And just yesterday, we put a bid on another one at an auction. I don't know if we won that one yet, but we put a bid again for $100 on it, so we'll see. Next we have, this was another Avon brush set. Again, same auction, $1 for it. This was an actual set, so there were 3 different brushes in the set, and that one sold for $49.99. Let's see, I sold a set of the stove knobs. I got these at a yard sale. They were cat themed, so you could like take the knobs off your stove and put these on. They were really cool looking. I thought that, you know, there would be a bigger interest in them than what there was, but they did sit for a while. They did sell for $19.99. Next we have a set of 2 MIKASA cappuccino mugs. I think I sold another set of these in one of my other CHING videos. These sold for $23.99, and Eric and I got them at Goodwill a long time ago. I think it was for like a shoebox full of them. We probably paid maybe like $3.99 or $4.99 for the whole box. Next we have a Jessica McClintock purse. This is kind of like an evening purse you could use for like a homecoming dance or prom and stuff like that. This did come from a Curb Alert. It was free. Someone had a yard sale, and then their leftovers they threw at the curb and let people take whatever they wanted. So I didn't pay anything for that, and that sold for $14.99. Next we have a vintage from the 1950s straw purse by a company called Ritters. I did win this at an auction. I'd say I paid maybe, I'm not quite sure what I paid for it. I might have paid around like $10 or so for it, and that sold for $35.99. I sold a men's leather bomber style jacket by a company called SCHOTT, SCHOTT. I did get this at a thrift store. I'd say I paid maybe $10 to $12 for it, and that sold for $99.99. This next item did go to Margaret again. She had purchased something else from me. This was for a vintage corn on the cob shaped oil cruet that sold for $19.99. That did come from an auction. It was on a tray with some other stuff, but I did actually want that piece because I love anthropomorphic styled stuff. I'm just totally drawn to it naturally, so I had to have that. Next we have a vintage Goosebumps cassette tape. So this had like an actual like audio story of a Goosebumps book on it. This, I'm pretty sure, I feel like that came from a fill-a-bag rummage sale, and that sold for $12.99. This next item was just really weird. I'm just drawn to the weird. I just am. That's me in a nutshell. It was like a figurine, but it was made out of these like vintage Christmas satin ball ornaments. It was pretty amazing. Fairly certain that did come from an auction, and that sold for $25.99. Next item we have is another Bob Mackie item. This is a clothing piece. This was for a sweater coat. Again, came from an auction. I probably paid about maybe $7 for it, and that sold for $35.99. Next was a pair of men's Lehigh steel toe safety boots. The really awesome thing about these was, one, they were new old stock, they still have their tags on, and two, they were dress boots. So typically when you see steel-toed boots, they're like, you know, working boots, like the things that you're gonna wear while you're out on the floor or, you know, out in construction and stuff like that, actually wearing while you're working. So this was probably more for like someone who worked in like a corporate office but would have to go out on the floor to like take a look around and stuff like that. You know, the cushy jobs people have. Anyway, that sold for $79.99, and those did come from a thrift store. I'm pretty sure I paid about $10 to $12 for them. Next, we have a vintage Cabbage Patch Kids bunny costume outfit. I got this at a yard sale. I'd say I paid about $2 for it. That sold for $25.99. I definitely like to pick up vintage Cabbage Patch Kids clothing when I see it, though I do feel like the dolls are starting to come back in popularity. For a while there, I feel like they really weren't worth much, but I have been seeing an uptick in posts on Facebook groups, like the different eBay Facebook groups, people having success with some Cabbage Patch Kids dolls. Next, we have another anthropomorphic styled item. This was for a pear-shaped ceramic condiment jar set. These were absolutely so stinking cute. They sold for $49.99, and they did come from an auction. I'd say I probably paid about $20 or so for those. Next, we have a donkey enamel trinket box. Eric won this at an auction. We actually won two. The other one still hasn't sold. This one was like the larger, nicer one of the two. That sold for $29.99, and I can't remember what he paid for those, but I know it wasn't a lot. Next, we have a vintage from 1981 My Little Pony. This was a really large, like plastic pony. There was a knob underneath of its chin, I believe it was, and its ears moved and its tail kind of wagged. Like, My Little Pony collectors definitely are looking for those types of toys that are just harder to find. Like, I've never seen one of these before out in the wild. The only My Little Pony stuff I typically come across are like, you know, the ponies themselves and sometimes some accessories and that kind of thing. I had never found this before. I paid $1 for it, I believe it was, and that sold for $69.99, so that was amazing. Next item we have is a purse by a company called Bar & Bar. That sold for $39.99. I'm pretty sure that came from Goodwill. I had it for a while. I'd say I probably spent about $5 or $6 for that. I sold a lot of 6 HP photo paper sets. These were all brand new, still sealed, for $19.99, and these actually came from, Eric and I had purchased a storage unit a long time ago. I actually do have a video of that up if you guys haven't seen it before. We still would like to purchase another one, we just haven't. It was a lot of work, really like a lot of work. And we did make our money back on it and probably profited a little bit, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it wasn't like the best storage unit ever. Next we have a cologne called Fashionable. That sold for $10.99, and I got that at a yard sale for $1. I sold a pair of Terra and Sky leggings for $15.99. These actually came from, gosh, it's been a while since you heard me say this, the Facebook Marketplace garbage bag of clothes. Those did come from there. Next we have a Yankee candle. This was in the scent Toxic Tonic. It was a Halloween themed candle. I did get that at a yard sale. I'm pretty sure I paid $5 for it, and that sold for $39.99. I sold an end of day Starburst lampshade. This thing was absolutely beautiful. I got this at an auction. I did pay up for it. I think we paid probably around, I'd say maybe $80 or so, maybe a little bit more than that actually. But we made our money back and we profited pretty well on that. It sold for $289.99. I sold a set of Christmas figures. These were vintage Christmas figures. They kind of look like they were leaning in for a kiss type of thing. Those sold for $39.99, and those also came from an auction. I don't remember if they were like on a tray or if it was something that I had just won singly. Next we have a lot of 2 vintage strawberry shortcake hardcover books. These came from a book sale that I had gone to. I think I paid $5 to fill my bag full of books. So, and you know, I got a decent amount of books. So obviously I made my money back just on this one sale. Those sold for $25.99. Let's see, I sold a vintage, this was from 1991. It was a toy play set by a company called CHING. The toy originated in Spain, like it was made in Spain. I had never seen this before, obviously, because this wasn't a toy that was, you know, for sale here in the US. So I'm not sure exactly, I got it at a yard sale, so I'm not sure exactly where the person got it originally or whatever. But the funny thing is, this toy went back to Spain. It's so crazy. But it did go back to Spain. It sold for $27.99, and I'm pretty sure I paid about $3 for it at the yard sale. This next item actually went to someone local. I did my first local eBay pickup with this item. This was a vintage Toxic Crusaders Halloween costume. I had found this at an estate sale. I'd say in the grand scheme of things, I probably paid less than $1 for it. I found it in there, you know, they had the house open that you could look through, and I'm pretty sure I probably have a video. I don't know if I have a video of us finding it. I don't think I was recording when we went into the garage because it was really tight in there, but it was in the garage we found it. Anyway, this costume sold for $283.98. It did go to someone local, and the really awesome thing is the person who had purchased it collects obviously like Toxic Crusaders items and things like that, and he actually got it signed by the creator of Toxic Crusaders, and I'm gonna actually post up the picture. Hopefully he doesn't mind. I'm gonna link his Instagram down in my description box if you guys want to follow him. If you love vintage 80s type of stuff, then you'll probably really like his Instagram. But anyway, just super awesome. I love, like, just one of the reasons why I love reselling so much is finding this type of stuff that people are going to cherish the rest of their lives. And, you know, there's stories behind it and everything like that. It's just, it amazes me. So that was probably the coolest sale of my entire eBay career, with, you know, the story about, you know, what he was doing with it and everything like that. So awesome. Next item we have is a vintage, I don't know if this was a Beagle or a Basset Hound, guys. You'll have to let me know down in the comments. It kind of looked like both in my opinion. But it was a vintage pillow. One of those things where, like, you would get like the fabric panels and you would sew it and stuff it yourself type of thing. Anyway, these actually do sell pretty well. I got this at an auction. I probably paid about $1 for it, and that sold for $39.99. Next we have a Planet Earth Skateboards shirt. Got this at a yard sale with a bunch of other skateboard brand clothing pieces. I probably paid about quarter 50 cents for that, and that sold for $29.99. Next we have an Indiana glass fairy lamp. This was just a clear round fairy lamp. I'm not sure if this is one that came from the auction. I had gotten all the other fairy lamps, or if this one was one I had found at a yard sale. It's hard for me to remember because I know I got some both places. Anyway, that sold for $19.99. This next item was a vintage Dresden lace ballerina. Absolutely beautiful. This did come from an auction that sold for $29.99. I did end up getting a neutral feedback for this because when the person received it, I think they had said there was like a little chip on her finger. I did not see that when I listed it, so I'm assuming it happened you know, while it was being shipped. So I felt horrible about that. So I did get a neutral feedback for that. I do feel, and I'll get to this towards the end of the video, so just hold on for that thought. Anyway, next item we have did go to a subscriber named Lisa. This was for a Sarah Coventry pin of a little owl, and he was wearing a pair of glasses, and you can move the glasses up and down. That came from probably a yard sale. I'd say that sold for $12.99. Or it could have came actually from an auction. I had won a tray of jewelry. I think it was from the auction. Next item we have is a Fashion Bug swimsuit that sold for $19.99. This did come from a fill-a-bag rummage sale. I sold a men's Joven Musk cologne for $39.99, and that came on a tray of perfume I had won at an auction. This next item also came from an auction. We had won a whole bunch of these Kraft cheese singles plastic containers. So I'm pretty sure at one point back in the day when you bought the Kraft cheese, they came in a box like this. I'm pretty sure because I remember my parents having them. Anyway, people want these. They sell consistently. I sold out of every single one I had. So you'll be seeing these Kraft boxes popping up in probably my next couple of chings. Anyway, so over $21.99, and I probably paid about $4 for all of them. So great score there. Next I sold a JPK Paris purse. JPK Paris was the designer. Got this at a yard sale. I probably paid about $5 for it, and that sold for $35.99. I had once found a JPK Paris purse before and sold it, so I would definitely, considering the price, if I would find it again, I would pick it up since both of them had sold. I sold a gold metallic purse. This was vintage. It was by a company called Dwali, D-A-W-L-I. This did come from an auction. I think I paid $1 or $2 for it, and that sold for $29.99. I sold a Viking 14-inch swung blue vase. Absolutely beautiful. That sold for $45.99. That did come from an auction. I know at one point I had won just a bunch of like beautiful blue glass pieces at an auction. It was in the box lot area, and I know I didn't pay much for the boxes that we were buying. Next I have a Sleeping with Sirens shirt. This is a band tee that sold for $19.99, and I'm pretty sure that came from a fill-a-bag rummage sale. I sold a Beekman 1802 candle in the scent Mayor Lemon for $19.99, and that did come from an auction. I had won a bunch of Beekman 1802 candles. Next item was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tin filled with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I didn't really know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Picked these up at a thrift store. I think I paid $3 or $4 for the tin, and those sold for $29.99. Next we have a set of 2 Westmoreland blue little hens on nests, like little covered salts. Those sold for $19.99, and pretty sure those came from an auction. And the last thing that I have for this cha-ching is another Petite Princess Dollhouse furniture piece. This one was for a table set. That sold for $19.99. So within this, as I was compiling this cha-ching, I ran over, I did have one return item that, you know, obviously got relisted. And then I did have two items that were damaged within this cha-ching, which doesn't happen a lot. The one was that Dresden figure, and I don't know what the other one was. I don't have it written down. Oh, it was a, I had sold a vintage bottle of shampoo and conditioner, and when the buyer got it, it was leaking inside, so that ended up being damaged. So I gave a full refund for that. And the Dresden, you know, they didn't, you know, open a case or anything, so I'm assuming they were okay with it enough. I mean, like I said, I did get a neutral feedback for it, but they didn't ask, you know, for a return or anything like that. So that was two damages out of this cha-ching, which is something I don't really have too much of an issue with, but obviously those issues do come up, so I wanted to address them. I do feel like, and maybe it's just me, and it's so weird that it coincides with the fact that I had 2 damages in this cha-ching and I haven't really had many issues with damages. I have had not 1 but 2 damages within the past couple of days, and Eric has taken over my shipping, so he's been packing all of my stuff. I 100% trust Eric's shipping. He knows how to ship. So, you know, if you have purchased anything from me and it was glass and it arrived perfectly safe, like, you know, Eric's shipping and packing is amazing. So I really don't feel like it's necessarily user error, basically. Like, as far as, like, I don't think it had anything to do with lack of packing materials or anything like that. I do believe it was all USPS, because it seems like it's always USPS. Like, they just huck packages and throw stuff on top of other boxes, and, you know, obviously they're not like safely handling everything. They just want to get everything out, you know what I mean? So I don't know why there's been an uptick in damages. It's really upsetting, because obviously you're out not only the item but also the money you spent on it, as well as the money you made on it, if you're giving obviously a full refund, which you should if someone's item arrived broken. So definitely an uptick in damages I've been noticing. I just think it's kind of weird. So you guys will let me know if you have been seeing any like uptick in that aspect. And then the only other thing within this cha-ching, I did have 1 return. I think it was a clothing piece someone had returned because it didn't fit properly. And then that was just relisted. So yeah, that is pretty much everything for this cha-ching. I feel like I don't really have too much other to talk about. I feel like sales have been lackluster lately, and I definitely feel like other people are feeling that as well. So, you know, just gotta keep chugging along, just keep listing. Obviously, you have good weeks, you have bad weeks, but it's like, if you are reselling, especially if you resell full-time, you know, you kind of have to take that in stride. Like, it's going to happen. You are going to have days where you may only have 1 sale, or you may have no sales that day. It's slightly unpredictable, basically, but just keep working at it. That's all I can really say and offer advice, is just keep on listing, because those sales will come. And then me and Eric, we always refer to it as eBay turning our light on. When we have sales, eBay has our light turned on. When we're not having sales, eBay has their light turned off. So right now I feel like they're kind of just flicking that switch on, off, on, off, on, off. So I'm just waiting for them to just turn that light back on and get some sales rolling in. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for this video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Let me know if you are having any issues at all with eBay currently and what they are, or let me know what has been selling for you lately. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.